What's up everybody? So today I want to talk about a passion of mine that I had for a decently long time now, ever since last summer, of basically collecting physical media. I'm really into more of this archaic type of tech that isn't really convenient to the modern person, however just has like a nicer feel to it and overall gives you a very good user experience, especially when it comes to art like film and music. With that in mind, today I wanted to show you my CD collection because I have gathered a decent amount of CDs and I feel like there's a nice thing to say about any of them. We can just discuss these albums together. Maybe you can let me know what CDs you have in comments and whether we share any of the same albums. Okay, so let's begin. First off, with my first CD. This right here is Death Race for Love by Juice WRLD, and I'm pretty sure I got this around July or August 2025, and while transporting it, sadly I cracked the case. I don't know if you can see that, you should be able to, but otherwise it's a very good CD. This was the first CD that I got and I hadn't listened to the album, which is probably crazy for some people, but I wanted to check it out on the CD for the first time. And if you haven't seen it, this is what the CD inside looks like. Hold on, I'll take it out. Yeah, this right here is the CD, the actual, it has like a very nice art to it compared to modern CDs which don't really have that nice of an art. This one is really cool and it has like the aesthetic of speed racing and stuff. Very good album from Juice WRLD, especially for his like final made by him album, because the other albums, they're not really all that personal to him. But yeah, honestly, Death Race for Love, as my first listen on being on a CD, it was an amazing album. I feel like it's one of those albums with more of a retro video game type of feel, with always like different sounds of either really intense or really chill music. And honestly, listening to it on CD was an amazing choice in my opinion. If you haven't picked this up, make sure to have it. It's a very cool, like an art piece to have around. And yeah, that's pretty much my first ever CD. I was stuck with just it for like a long time, because even after I bought it, I didn't have a CD player for a while, so I didn't really buy any CDs till like winter of the same year. So my next purchase was two CDs actually. I started going for one CD that I've heard and one CD that I haven't heard. So for the next albums, I had two CDs that I heard because I hadn't heard Death Race for Love. So I got two CDs that I haven't actually heard, and those were, first of all, I found GNX by Kendrick, which I was thinking about getting even when I was getting Death Race for Love, but I'm mostly more happy with Death Race for Love. I also cracked this one. I don't know if you can see that. Hold on, yeah, it's right on the car windshield. It's low hard to see, but yeah, I cracked it too. GNX, honestly, not a terrible album. I really liked it. I haven't heard that many Kendrick albums. I've heard like two, I now think about it. I've heard Damn and I've heard GNX, and I used to like GNX more. However, in hindsight, I really appreciate Damn, and just GNX I feel like was made more for like winning awards and wasn't really all that intentional as like some of the other Kendrick albums. I listened to the CD itself multiple times, but however I haven't played it in a long time. The art on the CD itself has by far the most basic CD out of any in my collection, just GNX text, and the booklet is pretty much empty, just has some photos. But yeah, that was one of the CDs. And then the other CD that I had was Astroworld, and compared to GNX, Astroworld is a physical masterpiece. In terms of music, I like it way more than GNX and Death Race for Love, because one of Travis's best. But look at the CD. First of all, you have like this, it's not a plastic shell, it's just a paper case. However, it has like the cover on it. On the back you have the track list, which is a very nice thing because you can actually use your CD player to find which track you want to listen to. But it also has this nice, interestingly edited picture of Travis. Also, the inside you have this Astroworld logo. This, I don't know how much I have to edit this, but it's like an expanded night version and more adultish version of the Astroworld part. And if you haven't seen the CD is also amazing. It's this kind of like abstract painting. Look at it. Also, it has like the smiley face with the interesting colors on it. I don't know how to say it, but I literally just realized that this is a smiley face, like the orange stuff. I literally hadn't realized this, and I've listened to the CD multiple times. That's Astroworld. Astroworld, honestly, my favorite album out of the three, as I already said. One of my favorite even from the whole collection. If I have to say which is my least favorite from the collection, I'll have to say it's GNX. Like, I'm not even gonna keep this to the end, because GNX, honestly, I haven't played this in a long time, and I'm kinda not really a fan of like the super ultra deep poetic type of rappers like Kendrick. I want more of a vibe. Like, I feel like the whole deep and like hard life stuff is kind of performative. These were my next two picks. After that, I did another two picks. However, it was albums that I hadn't heard. So my first one of those was Birds in the Trap, another Travis Scott album. I know, kind of crazy on the Travis. Again, a paperback, not a plastic shell. However, it's a much better package than Astroworld. The music, I will say I like Astroworld more. However, the CD of Birds in the Trap. First of all, you have the Ego on the back with the track list. Again, amazing addition. The Ego, a reference to his stage design back then. After that, you have Birds in the Trap right here. And then you have this uncanny Travis in a cage. Very interesting. And more pictures, like alternate album covers. If you have leaks, you know how cool it is to find these because you can use them for your sessions and stuff. Best thing about Birds in the Trap, in my opinion, the whole CD package. If I can get it out. Oh my gosh, I ripped it. Fucking ripped the insert. It's alright. Oh, I didn't have to do that. Doesn't matter though. You know, that's the credits booklet right here. The credits, and that is a whole ass Travis Scott poster. For those of you who are fans of posters, I'm low-key mad that I just ripped the whole thing. Can't even like, I'm gonna have to edit this too, meaning I'm gonna see myself ripping it once again. Oh, I hate this so much. I haven't opened it that much, so it was hard to get it out, and I fucking ripped it. The CD, I'm gonna try not to rip this part. The CD is very cool, has the Ego once again with like the lightning and stuff. However, it also has the track list on the side, which I don't see a lot of CDs have that. So yeah, this right here is the CD of Birds in the Trap. Very cool. Yeah, Birds in the Trap was pretty good album. I heard a lot of like Travis Scott famous songs on there. However, Astroworld's still my favorite between the two. Then the other album that I heard for the first time on CD was Savage Mode by Metro and 21 Savage. Savage Mode 2 per se. Now, in terms of 21 Savage, this is one of my favorite albums. I like it way more than Savage Mode 1 because honestly, Savage Mode 1 was super basic and corny in my opinion. However, this one has much better production and the CD is very interesting, has like these cool pictures of Metro and 21 Savage. And the disc, pretty clean, with the iconic 21 Savage knife. Savage Mode 2 on the text right here. Amazing. Honestly, pretty cool albums, can't lie. In terms of Birds in the Trap or Savage Mode, I have to say Birds in the Trap is more of a unique album. However, Savage Mode is more suitable for like a casual listen, which are most of my listens with the series. So I'll pick Birds in the Trap as of the better album. However, I would likely listen to Savage Mode more, and I have listened to Savage Mode more for now. But yeah, this was my collection for a very long time. I didn't buy anything because I didn't have any money to buy stuff from the store that I usually go to. So once I got the money, my luck finally struck me because my entire CD collection started with one goal in mind. I wanted to get Utopia on a CD. I was even thinking about ordering it online, but one day when I got to the store, I saw it, my beautiful grail Utopia. That's why I have so many Travis Scott CDs, because every time I go and buy Utopia, I just buy a different Travis Scott album. However, I finally got it. Utopia by Travis Scott. A paper CD once again with Utopia on the back. It's just an absolute banger of an album. One of my favorite albums I've heard ever. Inside you have whatever this is, and my favorite CD honestly out of all of them is the Utopia CD, because first of all it has the signature of Travis. It has a very nicely put track list all around the CD. You see, you start off with Hyena right there. Hold on, should be Hyena right here. Thank God, and then it loops around. Amazing, an amazing album with an amazing package and CD. My favorite Travis Scott album for sure. If you asked me to rank Travis Scott albums, I'll likely go Utopia first, Rodeo second, Astroworld third. The rest don't really matter. The best Travis Scott album till now in my opinion, and I'm really glad I got it on CD. Now after I was done with Utopia, I also didn't buy a lot of CDs for a while because I had my grail, so I didn't really need anything. However, one time I went to the store and I found out they had restock on a whole bunch of Ye. So the first album that I got, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, with the most explicit cover possible. I'm pretty sure when I went to get Utopia, I saw My Beautiful Dark Fantasy again. However, it had the ballerina cover and I picked between it or Utopia. The fact that I wanted Utopia for so long made me get Utopia, but the second time I saw this, I couldn't miss out. Honestly, an amazing Kanye album. I figured why it's a classic, and for a long time I didn't really listen to it. However, when I bought the CD, I started listening to it on the CD and on streaming. So I'm really glad that I got this because it introduced me to an amazing project that I'm really glad I've been listening to in the recent times. These CDs I'm pretty sure are from 2026 Utopia onwards. So yeah, this was my second 2026 drop. I started buying one CD for now. Dark Fantasy, inside of it, hold on, let me open it up. It's got the booklet and then the CD. The CD has like the most in-depth graphic. It's like the most CD-ish CD out of all of them. Honestly, pretty ugly drawing. However, it perfectly encapsulates Kanye and the time he was making this album. And now, the reason that I made this video, with this CD, I had exactly 7 CDs. However, I recently got 3 more. My biggest spree ever. And it was 3 absolute bangers that I had no idea I would find. Now, first of all, when I got to the CDs, this was a pretty interesting story because like how I used to to go to the store to get Utopia. Like other day, as I'm recording this, maybe it was 2 days ago, me and my homeboy decided to go to the shop after our gym session to see what's going on there, and I wanted to find Bully by Kanye because I saw on Twitter that the Bully CDs were going out in stores all over the world. So I wanted to see maybe there was a small chance that Bully had gone in this store as well, because they had been restocking Kanye like that pretty much all the time ever since I got My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And now when I went there, I didn't find Bully, sadly. Maybe by the time you see this I've already found it, but doesn't matter. The first thing that I found, an absolute banger, grail that I had no expectation of finding, and in fact I was about to order it from the artist's website, is More Chaos by Ken Carson. Kenyala Lee Frazier Jr. managed to get in the store where I buy my CDs. I have no idea how they managed to get it, who imported this, but I'm super glad I found it. A lot of people say More Chaos was a flop, however I would absolutely disagree with that. I feel like it was a perfect continuation to A Great Chaos. A Great Chaos was more like a mixture of rage and melodic, and More Chaos I feel like did a good thing by focusing mostly on rage, and that'll go very well with Experiment, which I'm waiting on now with excitement, because Experiment will focus more on the melodic. So kind of like splitting AGC into two, and we're getting two albums related to each part, which means like More Chaos did rage better than A Great Chaos, and Experiment will hopefully do melodic stuff better than A Great Chaos. So a great evolution from Ken in my opinion. Now in terms of the CD itself, this is probably the corniest CD I have because it features a lot of this cornball imagery from Ken. No idea why he keeps going with this. I'm kind of glad he left this aesthetic because I haven't seen him post like this gore stuff in a while. He's been going more into abstract art. However, the CD itself looks like this. It has like this pentagram, which looks like just a circle when it's spinning on the CD player. Okay, yeah, the album is absolutely amazing. I hadn't listened to it in a while, but when I got the CD, I played it like in one sitting. So honestly, really happy with this amazing album. There was vinyls for AGC and self-titled by Cardi. However, I didn't find CDs for those albums, so I got More Chaos. I speculate that there were other CDs, but I missed out because I hadn't gone earlier. So yeah, More Chaos, amazing. However, I have two more that I found that day. After finding More Chaos, another absolute grail I had no idea would show up in my store. Pink Tape, ladies and gentlemen, by Lil Uzi Vert. And this is honestly super unique because it's the first CD I own to feature, I don't know how to say this, it's the first album that I bought to feature two CDs. I don't know how Pink Tape is this long, apparently it's very long. I don't remember it being that long. However, it features a whole bunch of songs. However, they have had to split the songs in two parts. Let me get it up. We have the first CD right here, which is from Flooded the Face to Just Wanna Rock. Honestly, my favorite part of the album. And then the second CD, it comes out from Fire Alarm to the end of the bonus tracks. And you have this interesting Uzi out cover maybe for Pink Tape. Hold on, I need to, yeah, like here, really like the girls and stuff. Interesting, very interesting project indeed. I feel like another overhated album. I haven't listened to that many Uzi albums, but I feel like Pink Tape is a super nice project. And honestly, Uzi is one of those guys who can make a visual thing like the color pink sound absolutely amazing. He managed to, like, when I think of the color pink, this is the sound that I imagine. Pink Tape, amazing album. Go hear it, and if you can buy the CD, buy it because it's an honestly absolutely amazing CD. I love it. And finally, the final album that I bought, and I just listened to this before recording this video, Graduation by Kanye West. Amazing album. I don't even have to explain why Graduation is peak. I really like Graduation because the booklet itself on the CD has so many covers. It has like the original cover, then it has the complete version of this cover right here, the reverse, the back part of the original, and then my favorite probably, I just made this after putting the CD out. I put this version as the front, the whole School Bear stuff. Look how like he's ready to lock in. I really like that. The art style behind Graduation was simply amazing, you know, compared to like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But yeah, the CD for Graduation is also amazing. You have like the bear and the text, pretty clean, pretty cool as well. But yeah, that's my CD collection overall. My favorite album from it, well, I have to say, if I have to rank them, my favorite would be Utopia. After that, I've got Graduation. Honestly, Graduation and Utopia are interchangeable for me, but I feel like Utopia is more of a finished concept, so I'll put it over Graduation. After that, I'm going More Chaos for sure. I really like Ken and Opium. A lot of you probably know that. In fact, I'm wearing my fake antagonist hoodie right now. After that, I'll go Pink Tape. I don't really listen to Pink Tape like that. However, every time I do, I love it so much. So I have to put it number 4. And from there, I would say Dark Fantasy, Astro World, Death Race for Love, Birds in the Trap, Savage Mode 2, and GNX as my least favorite album, as I already said. Honestly, I really mess with CDs, and I'm super excited to be collecting more. Let me know, do you have any CDs? And if you do, which ones do you share with me? Another thing that I'm trying to get on my hands is some device that can make me custom CDs, because I collect a lot of unreleased music and I would love to be able to put that on CD. CDs. However, I still haven't managed to do that for now. But yeah, let me know what you think of CDs and physical media in general, and I will catch you all in my next video. Peace out.